What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Talkin Football podcast. This is now episode 16, and we're just going to keep on rolling with the predictions. Today, we're starting the AFC. As you can tell by the title of the video, we are going to be doing the AFC East. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Because I always like interacting with you guys. Always be able to. I will always check them out. I will always read them. So definitely leave a comment so I know what you guys like. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me roll the intro and let's get this video started. All right, so we're starting the AFC in the East, and this is a division that usually has a couple of good teams, and that's how it is in my opinion this year. Obviously, New England's not really that great. They are still on the come up, but they're not the best. Maybe in a couple of years they'll be in contention here. Buffalo's still here. The Jets could be good on they're good on paper, and Miami is also a good team. So this division's really up in the open. Any one of those three teams I just mentioned could win it. And honestly, New England, if maybe if Drake May replaces Brissett in the middle of the year, or if Brissett plays like he did when he was in Indy, maybe they can have a little bit there. But overall, I don't see New England being in this conversation. So I'm going to start with New England with my record predictions, and I'm going to have them at 4-13. So the thing is with New England is they're young. They have a new head coach, and even though it's not really a culture change, it is. Let's be real here. They went from Bill Belichick to Gerard Mayo. That's a significant change, even though the Patriot way is still there. The locker room's a little bit different because it's Gerard Mayo's locker room. It's not Belichick's locker room. So that's a big change there. And a lot of these guys are young. So, and look, they have good pieces, but like I still think they're missing a couple things. I still think they honestly. I don't dislike the Drake May pick. I love Drake May. I think he's a great player. I do think that the Patriots would have been better off taking Marvin Harrison because Marvin Harrison's more of a generational receiver prospect when you have guys like Drake May every couple of years. But that's besides the point. I do like the decision that they had starting Brissett over Drake May. Look, there's no reason to rush him. You guys are not going to start. You're not going to make the playoffs right now. Maybe a couple years down the line, then you bring in Drake May. I saw a comment talking about on a post that was talking about Brissett over May, and this guy said if you put May on the bench, you're more likely to get a Mahomes or a Lamar, but if you start him immediately, you're more likely to get a Herbert or a Kyler. And look, that's not being disrespectful to Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray, but there's a pretty big gap between those quarterbacks. And look, I like Justin Herbert. I think it's more fair to compare him to Kyler Murray. I like Kyler Murray. I think he's a good quarterback, but Kyler Murray's here, and Lamar and Mahomes are up here. So I do like that decision. I think that will cost them in the win column, but let's be real. Is it going to cost them that much? They're going to end up with a top 4 or 5 pick, maybe even top 3 pick. Not the first pick. I think New Orleans gets the first pick this year. But New England definitely still has some work to do. And look, there's a couple of players on each side of the ball that I really, really like. Give them a couple years and they'll be on top. Or they'll be getting back to that range. But still, I don't believe them this year. And honestly, based on what Gerard Mayo's been doing, I don't know if I mean, he's been kind of cryptic in his press conferences. And look, a little bit of that's fine, like here and there, because that's what Bill Belichick did. He knew what his cards were, and he didn't show them. He had a great poker face. He didn't let anything faze him. Gerard Mayo, I think he's trying to do that, and it's very obvious. He's like, well, I'll let you guys know by Tuesday, and then he lets us know, like, yeah, he let us know yesterday or 2 days ago that he wasn't going to that he wasn't going to announce a starting quarterback until then. That I don't really understand. And that concerns me a little bit. I do think Mayo was the best hire, but I don't know if he's the best coach, in my opinion. He could be a good defensive coordinator down the line, though. But again, we'll see how the Patriots do this year. It's a very, very young team. And look, I mean, you're getting Gonzalez back. You just traded Judon, though. You have May. You have Demario. I love Demario Douglas is one of my favorite young players in the league. He's exciting. He is a very, very, very talented player. If the Patriots can use Demario Douglas right, they have a Pro Bowler on their hands, and that's the truth right there. All right, next up I have Buffalo at 9-8. So look, genuinely, my thing with Buffalo is that they don't have good receivers or DBs. Um, I like Keon Coleman, but is he a true wideout one? That's what I don't know. If he is, Buffalo's a 12-win team, and there's no doubt about it. I don't know about that yet. Can their DBs, can Elam, can he play, can Teron Johnson, can these guys play at a high enough level to get Buffalo to 11, 12 wins? Maybe, but I need to see that first. I would absolutely not be surprised if Buffalo made the playoffs right now. Honestly, I can change this to 10-7, and it wouldn't really change much. I think 9-8 is right around where I'd like to put them because they're in a time of change. I'm saying this with the air quotes because they just got rid of a lot of their star players. Micah Hyde's not there anymore. Poyer's not there anymore. They just got rid of Trey White. They don't have Diggs anymore. Like they cleaned house. I mean, when I say they really cleaned house. They're not a bad team though. They're really not. Like I said, I like Coleman. I love Dalton Kincaid. Dawson Knox is a great player. I think Dawson Knox is great. I'm a big fan of James Cook. Josh Allen is obviously Josh Allen. Their O-line's not bad. And defensively, they have a good defensive line. I like Greg Rousseau. Obviously, Matt Milano's an all-pro linebacker. But that secondary concerns me a little bit. Teron Johnson's a great player, but can Elam play well? Can he play as well as Trey White did when he was healthy? Can those safeties back there play well? That's what I don't really know. And once those questions are solved, then we'll kind of get a less foggy prediction here with Buffalo. I do like them. I wouldn't be surprised if they made the playoffs, but I think next year they'll be a significantly better team because they'll be built a little bit more. And a 9-8 team in a 9-8 year that makes them miss the playoffs could really help them because then they have the opportunity to maybe trade up in the draft when they're maybe at like the 15th or 16th, like 15th or 16th pick, and they can trade up from that spot maybe to like number 7. They have done that before. They have moved up to get Josh Allen in the 2018 draft. So that can happen, and it will happen because Buffalo just does that kind of stuff. But I have them at 9-8 this year. But again, it would not surprise me one bit if they made it 12-5, even 13 wins. Like that would not surprise me at all. I think 9-8 is right around where they are. That's more of like my safe prediction. Here's the thing with the Jets, and I'll move on to let's move on to them. So here. And like I said before, earlier in this video, on paper, they are one of the best teams in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, amazing. Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams, great. Their new offensive line is significantly better. They just added Tyron Smith. They have Morgan Moses. It's a significantly, significantly better offensive line. They have Breece Hall back from injury. They have Uzama. They have Conklin at tight end. That's just the offense. Defensively, they have a top 3 defense. And you can argue number 1 if you got there. Sauce Gardner's great. DJ Reed is great. Quinton Williams is great. They have a lot of good pieces there. Jermaine Johnson, I like. Mosley. The list goes on and on and on. This is the year that they finally make the playoffs, in my opinion. There's no. I mean, I'll be honest. Talking football's a little bit lazy here. I didn't do all. I'm kind of doing these as each video goes on, so I'll have a full AFC playoff thing probably by like the 3rd or 4th AFC episode. But 10-7 should be enough to get into the playoffs. But look, it might not be, and it wouldn't be surprising if it isn't. The AFC is loaded with talent. I mean, look, who are teams that can make the playoffs? I think every AFC North team has a chance. Obviously the Chiefs, so that's 5 right there. I'm not going to say any other team in the AFC West. In the AFC South, definitely the Texans, definitely the Colts, definitely the Jaguars. Titans are a little bit of a stretch. That's already 8, and that's not even including this division. And I would add in 3 more, that's 11 of the 16 teams in the conference that could make the playoffs. So it should be enough, pretty sure. Based on my predictions. So I have them at 10-7. there's no reason that they should have as many wins as some people say they do. Like I've seen 13 wins, I've seen 14 wins. You're crazy. Like you're crazy. I don't. They're not getting 13, 14 wins. They're not getting more than 10, in my opinion. I think I had them at 10-7 last year, and obviously Rodgers got hurt on the fourth play of the year. Um, let's hope he lasts longer. That would be ideal for the Jets. But I will say one thing I can absolutely guarantee: it doesn't matter where their seating is, they're a first round exit. And reports came out that Rodgers is screwing with the chemistry, and that's a terrible place to be because it's very awkward and there's not a good vibe. There's a terrible vibe. There's just a dark cloud around the Jets right now. Look, Salah's on the hot seat. If he doesn't perform well, he's gone. He's done. And honestly, any other coach in New York sports at this point would get fired. But honestly, if Rodgers played the entire year last year, I think the Jets do make it into the playoffs, and that probability is what's keeping Salah's job. If Rodgers plays most of the year, like 60% of the snaps, and they don't make the playoffs, Salah's done. In this case, I do see them making the playoffs, but I see them as first round exit. So Salah could still be done. But look, the Jets are good. I think they're going to be. I just remember this now. The Jets, in my opinion, are going to be this year's Eagles. Are the Jets? This year's Jets are last year's Eagles, in my opinion. What do I mean by that? This is what I mean. I see the Jets starting out 7-1, 8-1, 9-1, and ending the year 10-7 on a complete downfall and getting eliminated in the first rounds. That's the most Jets way to enter the playoffs. It's just the most Jets thing to do. Be 8-1, best team in the league, and then you have one upset loss, and then you have another, and then you have another, and then you have another, and you can't, and then you get one back, just barely on like a walk off on a game winning field goal, and then you lose, and then you're out. That's what the Eagles did. They were what were the Eagles? One day like 10-1, and the end of the year 11-6, and then they got eliminated by the Bucks in the first round. The Bucks in the first round, like that's embarrassing. Wasn't really embarrassing. The Bucks were on a bad team. That's besides the point. I see the Jets being last year's Eagles this year. I can totally see them doing that. I would actually predict that to happen. So if you're a Jets fan, take it with a grain of salt, because I don't. That's not a genuine 10-7. That's not like a 3-2, and then a couple weeks later you're like 6-4, and then you end the year, and then you're like 9, and then you're like 9-5, and you end the year like 10-7. That's a genuine 10-7. They're an ungenuine 10-7. They're going to be 8-1, and then the year 10-7, and get eliminated in the first round. Let's talk about Miami. Miami is one of my favorite teams in the AFC this year. I am unbelievably high on Miami this year. I love what they're doing. I have them winning the AFC East for the first time for a very long time, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't think they've won the AFC East in quite a bit. They almost won it last year until they choked it to Buffalo, like in the last few weeks of the season. That was bad. That was very, very bad. But look, that's not going to happen this year. They're going to win the division by 2 games, in my opinion. And look, they're a good team. Miami is slept on a little bit. This is a playoff team. I love Mike McDaniel. I don't know what about him. His personality, he's such a goofball. Like, he walks around like he's high all the time, and he still wins games. I really like Miami this year. I like Tua this year. Waddle and Hill are going to be great this year. A-Chain is fully healthy. They still have Mostert, and then defensively, Phillips. You have Ramsey. They're a good. Not Christian Wilkins. He went to the Raiders. Actually, they did lose Christian Wilkins, which is going to hurt them a little bit. But they're still a very, very good team, and that should not. No one should blink an eye at the Dolphins this year. I'm probably, if I had to guess, I would assume that I'm probably one of the one of like the only football reporters that has that's this high on Miami. I have a really good feeling about them this year. And let's be real here. If Miami didn't play KC in that weather, that game is significantly closer. I mean, the weather was bad. It was very bad. if it's like 20 to 25 degrees warmer, it's a significantly different game, and Miami may have moved on, and that would have been that would have changed the postseason completely. And that's what I genuinely feel like. I think I don't know if anybody else agrees with that, but genuinely, I feel like if or if they played anybody else, they're moving on. I mean, yeah, that goes without saying. If Miami played literally any other team, they would have easily have moved on, or even if they just had to clinch the division, but they didn't because I guess that's Miami mid, I guess. That's where we're going to end the episode here, the AFC East episode. I hope you all enjoyed. Again, like I said earlier, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. You agree, do you not? I'm always willing to discuss this kind of stuff in the comments. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is Talking Football, and that's what I got to say about that.